So, you're looking for a dog trainer. It can be a tricky process anywhere, but finding the right person here in Oakland? Well, that's a whole different story. Let's get into what that really looks like. I mean, it's something every dog owner here has to think about, right? Life with a dog in Oakland isn't just about a nice backyard. It's about being part of a busy, amazing city that has its own unique beat. Just picture this. You're trying to have a nice, peaceful walk around Lake Merritt, but there are joggers whizzing by, bikes, strollers, and of course, all those geese. A good dog has to be able to handle all of that and stay focused on you. Or what about walking down Telegraph Avenue? The smells from the food trucks are incredible and a huge distraction for your dog. They need to learn how to walk past all that deliciousness without yanking your arm off. And, of course, there's that one-of-a-kind sound of a BART train rumbling overhead or underground. These are the kinds of real-world things that a good Oakland-based trainer really gets and knows how to prepare your dog for. All right, so how do you actually find that person? It all starts with getting a handle on their training philosophy and what their credentials really mean. You're going to hear the term positive reinforcement a lot, and for good reason. It's the foundation of modern humane training. And it's not just about giving your dog treats. In a packed city like Oakland, it's about building a solid relationship of trust. A dog trained this way is just less likely to get spooked by a loud noise or someone walking a little too close on the sidewalk. And that really helps keep the peace when you're living so close to your neighbors. Now, you'll probably see a bunch of letters after a trainer's name, and it can look like a bit of an alphabet soup. Here's a quick way to break it down. CPDT is a really solid certification for general, everyday obedience. But if you're dealing with more complex stuff like fear or reactivity, seeing something like IABC or CTC is a good sign. It usually means they have a deeper, science-based understanding of why your dog is doing what they're doing, not just how to stop it. So you basically have two main paths you can take. In-home training is fantastic for tackling issues right where they happen, like going crazy when the doorbell rings. Group classes, on the other hand, are perfect for practicing focus with other dogs around, which is great practice for when you're out and about in busy spots like Piedmont Avenue. Okay, once you've narrowed it down to a few trainers, it's time to ask some key questions. This is how you'll know if it's really the right fit for you and your pup. First up, let's talk budget, because that's always a factor. Here in the Oakland area, a set of group classes will probably run you a few $100s. But something more intensive, like a board and train program, can be a few thousand. It's just good to have a realistic idea of the cost before you get started. So before you sign on the dotted line, have a little list of questions ready. You'll want to ask them how they keep it positive, how they'll customize the training for an urban dog, and definitely get clear on how you'll both track and measure your dog's progress. And here's a really big one. Just as a rule, you want to stay away from any trainer who talks about using fear, pain, or intimidation. Not only are humane methods safer for your dog and for everyone else, they're truly the only way to build a real bond and get results that are actually going to stick around. Now, training doesn't just happen once a week in a class. The real work is applying those skills out in the city, and that means you've got to know the local rules. Here is a simple number to burn into your memory. 6. 6 feet. That's the maximum leash length you can have in any public space in Oakland. It's a simple rule, but knowing it can save you from a ticket and just helps keep everyone safe. And besides the leash law, there are a few other basics every Oakland dog owner should know. Your dog needs to be licensed every year. They need a current rabies vaccine for that license. And yes, excessive barking can actually be considered a public nuisance. Good to keep in mind. All right, so once you start learning these new skills with your dog, you gotta practice. And Oakland has some really amazing parks and trails where you can go put all that hard work to the test. So what's this all for? Why put in all this effort? Let's talk about the payoff, because it is absolutely worth it. If you've just adopted a dog, you may have heard of the 3-3-3 rule. It's a great way to think about their adjustment period. It basically says it takes about 3 days for them to decompress, 3 weeks to learn your routine, and a full 3 months to really feel at home. Good training works with that timeline, not against it. It's all about patience. And speaking of patience, it's helpful to have a realistic idea of how long training takes. Basic puppy manners might be sorted in a month or two with consistent work, but more serious things like reactivity, that's going to take several months of patient, steady effort. And this is where we come full circle. Remember that crazy busy scene at Lake Merritt we talked about? Well, with the right training, that exact same walk can become a beautiful, relaxing place to practice loose leash walking with your happy, confident dog. Or you could take a trip up to the trails at Redwood Regional Park. What an amazing place to build your dog's focus and just enjoy being out in nature together. Because in the end, that's what this is all about. Good training doesn't just give you an obedient dog, it helps you shape a confident companion. You end up with a dog who's a joy to have at home, a fantastic neighbor in your community, and just the best partner for any Oakland adventure you can dream up.